A father who has full-time care of his child, and we'll call him Bob. He came to us when he was 52. Mom had been, immediately after the second child was born, Mom had some mental health problems and addiction issues, so it just became impossible for her to be involved in the child's life due to child protection proceedings. So that brought with it, a social worker, placement in Children and Family Centre, local authority family centre. So there was more people involved, and in some ways that can be more intimidating for Dad, and I think that can be a little bit scary for folks. So we got involved, met with those other professionals, but also was seeing Dad every week. And Dad had kind of some stress and anxiety issues himself, helped him institute a bit of routine into his both children's lives. Dad had some health issues and some debt issues, so we're helping him sort these things out during the week in a one-to-one capacity, and also use the group. So he's been a regular attender of the group for about 1.5 years now, maybe longer than that, and it's been really great to just see everything just calm down a bit and the children smile a bit, and Dad responding to the children in a way that you can feel that he's not carrying that level of stress that he was. We kind of identified this specific situation when fathers were taking over in these scenarios where there's children's hearings, and it's been great to develop the work so that we can devote time to this particular scenario, which takes a lot of, it does take a lot of time and support for the families involved.
Every dad we work with has their own set of circumstances. We support each of them on a one-to-one basis and help them increase their confidence and enhance the care they provide their children.
So, for example, 2 children were prevented from going into care because we supported their dad to earn the confidence of social services and the family panel, and he was actually granted custody of his children instead of them going into care, which was really good. We worked with a 14-year-old dad. He's one of the youngest dads that we've worked with. He was obviously living in secure accommodation, so we supported him with practical parenting skills, antenatal basics. So Thomas went along with our baby bath and helped him sort of to learn how to do stuff like that. Gave advice on other agencies that he could go to for support, and we were able to support his mental health as well, and encourage him to engage with other agencies.
We supported a dad who was trying to maintain contact with his preschool child whilst in and out of prison.
And we've also supported a 17-year-old dad by liaising with Mum, so they'd completely stopped communicating with each other. And so we supported him as well when he was allowed contact by going with him when he took his children out.
The contact centre is a safe, neutral, child-friendly environment where dads and children can meet and feel comfortable, and we try and make it as comfortable as possible, and we bring toys out for them to play with and things that they can engage with, games and things. The families involved would be facing issues of deprivation, whether they were unemployed or on low income or living in deprived areas of Dumfries, young parents, or in the justice system. We've had some really good success stories. I can tell you one about a young dad that came along. He hadn't seen his child since he was just a few weeks old. The child was actually 3 months old when he came to us to have contact with his dad. Didn't know his dad obviously at that age really at all. Mum was very anxious about the contact starting as well, which is one of the challenges we very often face. But in the first contact, the child cried pretty much the whole way through. But as the weeks went on, they started to get more comfortable with each other. You could see the eye contact building up between the child as well and the parent. And he was with us, I think it was 6 sessions, and by the 6th session, the child was quiet and was actually sort of engaging and giggling and things with Dad as well. So it was great. And then by that time as well, Mum and Dad had been able to sort of come to an agreement for the contact to move away from the contact centre, so that they agreed at what days Dad would have access and things. So we were totally out of the procedure then.
I've got 8 fathers with children 0 to 3. I've got 1 father which got unborn baby. Baby is due in March. In total, 12 children. Thomas was had his upbringing was troubled. Basically, his dad was using alcohol. He didn't have positive role models. When I met him, he said to me, I think I'm an alright dad. And I was basically trying to figure out, what he's doing with his son. And he said to me, his son was just over 2, I think, if I remember well. And he said, yeah, I took my son out and about 3 times. I was like, 3 times this week? I was like, no, actually, since he was born. So you see the perception of being a dad, what kind of dad is different for all of us, because he didn't have this role model. He didn't drink. He thought he's a relatively good dad. So yeah, Thomas wasn't able to take his son out and about. He was getting distressed because he didn't know what to do, and his son was, in a tantrum because he was of this age. They didn't have a relationship, basically, and his son also struggled with speech, and he had troubles with building relationship in nursery. So yeah, I agreed to support Thomas with outings. We worked on his relationship with his son. I introduced to Thomas ways of meaningful play with his son, build up his confidence. My background is I'm an earliest practitioner. I used to work as a nurse in nursery. So basically, yeah, we worked through it. So Thomas started taking out his son out and about, like on the weekends in the beginning, and that's he got more confident. He know what to do, and at the end, he was taking his son like for all-day trips in Edinburgh in the bus, so which was fantastic. I would say, the biggest highlight of this support was that for the first time, mom of his son, because they not been together, was able to go for a week to visit her family. So he was like for a whole week he was with his son, taking him to from nursery, and that was absolutely amazing for him.
The project that I'm here today to talk about is In Tune, which focuses on families, mainly dads who have been sent to prison for whatever reason. In Tune's been going for 3 years already, with support from Cattanach and Children in Need. And we're about to enter our next 3 years of doing the same thing. So we're working primarily in 3 prisons at the moment, which are Pomont with young dads, Barlinnie in Glasgow, and Glenacle, which is out near Stirling. We go in and work with 5 to 6 families. Mum and dad both come in, or if mum's not around, whatever other parent or guardian might be, so granddad, whoever it is, and the kids come into the room as well. So I facilitate it. I'm a sort of go between Vox Liminis, the prisoners, and the prison. And then we take in 2 professional musicians who lead the group. And we've already spoken about how helpful music is for kids of all ages. So educational, from an educational side, for mental health, and just for the kids learning confidence and sharing, and dads being able to be a dad in that space. So although dad's in prison, he doesn't lose that title. And in a visit room, 9 out of 10 times, they'll get to hug their kid when they come in the room and get to hug them when they leave. The rest of that time, there's no physical contact allowed. So we had to create a space where we could make sure that they were getting time to actually just play with their kids. In-tune songwriting is just for dads or mums, and we go in for 3 days and we write songs over 2 days, one-on-one with the dads. And then we go in on the 3rd day with a professional recording setup and record the songs, and we encourage the dads to be as involved in that as they want. They can sing in it, they can play in it, they can just sit in the room while it's getting recorded. That's totally up to them how much they want to get involved. And then they get a CD back within a couple of weeks that they can send out to their kids at home. So I'm going to play a couple of songs that have been written, because I think it's better to hear from the dads who have written them than to hear from me.
Home Start Dundee concentrate on all the family as a whole. We do have a dad's group that runs twice a week during the week, but we also have the home visiting service. So we do support families, fathers within the homes and offer the service of the groups. At the moment, we're currently running just a few of the dads because we've had a turnover of successful stories already. A few dads that have returned back to work that have full custody of their children. We've built up the confidence with the dads to actually allow the children to go back into daycare, preschools, etc. The main focus of our groups is my background's early years childcare and education. So my focus in my group is the development of the children along with their fathers. So I let the fathers build the programmes themselves. I let them choose what they want to do, what they want to learn, what they want to develop with their child, what they want to engage with, what's out there in the community.
Home Start, we're based in Maryhill. We cover the north of Glasgow. We've also got a satellite scheme in Lanarkshire. Our catchment area covers the top 5% of deprived area in Scotland. So generally speaking, 4 to 5 dads attend each week with their children. Probably 4 out of those 5 dads generally are asylum seekers and refugees. Not always, but in the main. I have to say the asylum-seeking dads, or the dads from asylum-seeking communities, tend to be the most regular attenders. Yeah. And what they enjoy is just sharing, learning and experiences. You've got to remember that a lot of those families and dads have literally been airlifted into Maryhill. There's been no choice about where they're located, and they know no one. They end up in Maryhill. They know no one at all. To some degree, Home Start become their family. So it's nice. I suppose their needs are around being very isolated, being very lonely. You know, it's not that there are parenting issues, it's just that they're very lonely, which can obviously impact on their mental health. So, I suppose in terms of our results, what we want is for them to meet new dads and to build up their own connections within their communities. The model of Home Start is about empowerment, about making parents resilient, and that's what we want to do. We want to see them connecting with other dads in their communities and connecting further afield. I'm going to say it always feels like a bit of a job done when you see that sliding the telephone number, you know, connecting on Facebook. That feels like there's been a connection made. I think that feels like a bit of a success.
So the dads helped design and build the community garden, and even now the dads maintain that garden. It's not the same dads, but they're very, very proud of it, and they like to make changes. It's a brilliant wee project. We did this wee canvas, so the dads were talking about what the dad's project meant to them. So peer support, care, motivation, one-to-one support, determination, a helping hand and interaction. Because our dads have they've got their own wee group on Messenger and have nights out, and which is really nice. We offer one-to-one support and group work, so sometimes it takes one-to-one support for a while to get into group work, and sometimes it's one-to-one support only. Dads just, for whatever reason, whether it's some dads have lots of appointments and just can't make certain days, so this is just some of what's included in the one-to-one support: emotional support, advocacy, attending professional meetings. When some people have a massive amount of services involved for whatever reason. So sometimes you're sitting in as some of you all know, you're sitting in a professional meeting and there's maybe 20 people, and it could be quite negative when things are getting brought up. For 2003 in one case the other day, and the dad was just getting so upset. So in the end, there's this around the table, and I had to turn so that we were face on each other so we could have a conversation, because it's the only thing that managed to calm him down and get him through that meeting. Other than that, I would have just left. I was quite shocked when we do the registration paperwork. Nearly all the dads that we work with have been victims of domestic violence. Moving on. So this is a quote for one of your dads. He came in as a referral, there'd been domestic violence. He was refusing to leave the home. They'd split up and he was refusing to move out. So he didn't really want to work with me at all. But I sent letters, I phoned, and eventually I just turned up at the door. So he let me in. And so that moved on, and he's now in his own tenancy, which has been brilliant for him. He has a relationship with his ex-partner, which is great, and he's fantastic with his daughter, and we've both seen that.
The one-to-one support dads in many different ways, and every dad has his own journey, his own story, but they're all striving to do the same thing, and that's to have a better life with their children. When I first meet dads, normally it's about budgeting, finances, where's your money coming from, where's it going out to, doing all that kind of stuff, getting their house in order. Another part of the kind of financial thing is I have a dad who is a gambler who has quite horrific debts, really struggling. I now work alongside Gamblers Anonymous to get him along to the meetings, and that's been quite tricky because it is such a confidential organisation. So I speak with the group leader, and we both work together trying to get him to these meetings. So far he's been a couple of times, but we're getting there, it's chipping away. So the next part that I kind of work on is mental health, and as you all know, it just impacts the dads massively. So I have 16 dads on my books just now. 11 of them I work on a one-to-one basis with them, and 8 of them, that I know of anyway, are on medication of some sort for mental health. But no one has ever spoken about or been spoken to about postnatal depression, which I think is still, there's got to be some link in there as well. Dads talk about feeling isolated, feeling hopeless. The Dad and Me project gives dads a space to talk about how they're feeling, a signpost to counsellors. And another big part of my job that I do, and the GPs love me now, is phoning up and saying this dad needs an appointment now. And I've been attending a 4-weekly appointment thing with one of my dads to make sure he stays on his antidepressants. And these appointments have been so successful. Before, he would not stay on these course of drugs, and his mood is getting better, and he's able to kind of do more things and get out a bit more. And another part of that is signposting to Fife Gingerbread's volunteer buddies, and giving the dads an opportunity to meet another person who's not a worker and who doesn't know all about them, and just get out and do things like shopping. A wee quote that just always sticks with me, because I think we do so much and we think we're helping with money and we're doing all that, and one dad said, "I felt suicidal before Fife Gingerbread," so in that respect, I feel like I'm saving lives.
So year 2, we worked with 26 babies and children under 3, providing play sessions in the community with dads who had lived an experience within the criminal justice system and who had addictions. In addition to these sessions, the play sessions were so crucial for that interaction and the teaching how to play, but it became clear that a lot of the benefits were the conversations the dads were having after the play sessions. So we devised and did schedule sessions on how to create better physical living environments for their children. Talked about how to cook for them, so we did cooking sessions. Taught them how to cook baby and toddler friendly meals on the budgets that they're having to work with, how to manage benefits, other things like how to wallpaper and paint and lay flooring to make their children's environment better. And we've seen some, I think other people have touched on it today, we've seen some horrendous living conditions, and it's so important that children are warm and comfortable. How to wash babies and toddlers, again with the bathing and the singing while they're bathing, that really brought it home to me as well, Lisa. And in those discussions there was so many things came out. One young dad thought that disposable nappies could be reused that only the dirty ones needed to be binned. So it's that basic level of information, just getting that across to them. There's other kind of more, they were probably the more fun sessions, but there was a bit deeper sessions with the men, and they wanted to talk about it, on looking at the impact on babies and children, seeing a parent being drunk or high. And that's actually sparked really, really positive conversations with the men. And they themselves have recognised that they're repeating behaviours that their fathers and their grandfathers did. And they themselves witnessed as babies and children. So that itself, is pretty sad. But the breakthroughs from that have been really, really positive, and it's really helped them build their resilience and their positive attitude, and that they really want to change what they're doing. They want to break that pattern for their own children's benefit.
We deliver parent classes. Essentially what it is for me is about emotional intelligence, positive communication, right? And dispelling the myths that guys don't talk. We talk, man. We don't start talking. However, I agree, the engagement part of that is very, very difficult. A lot of our work lately has been with referrals. When we go, which is dad group alone, we also work with nurseries. That's what we're about as an organisation. That's what that drives me, being inspired by all the stuff that happens in here today, which drives me to impart that sense of love. There's some skills that we give, talking about getting down to the level of kids. That's always a big one. Wow, I never imagined if I just get down on the floor and communicated with my Wayne, it'd be so much better. So there's wee bits like that. We do days out, stuff with the kids as well. But essentially for me, the work, the pure hallelujah moments is about feelings. Nothing more than feeling. He talked about singing, right? It's about feelings. You know what I mean? Guys come into the room, they're like rigid. You know what I mean? Rigid. Now, we felt okay giving each other a hug, suppose, because we're facilitators, we're practitioners, we kind of know each other. For me, the gold is... The gold is when you guys come into that room and they're like that, and then by the end of it, they're hugging, they're bonded, they're there for the love of their kids. That's why they're doing it. They want to continue being a better dad, a better parent.